Hey, it's Martin Griffiths, co-founder of Metis Automation, and helping manufacturers to visualize and control the products in their factories. So in this video, I'm going to talk about how to go about reducing variation in your manufacturing process. And a little about me. My background to this is I was a manufacturing engineer and manufacturing manager in automotive companies for about 10 years before starting Metis Automation. And since then, we've helped in over 100 projects now manufacturers to improve their manufacturing processes. So I'm hoping to bring some of the lessons that I've learned over that time into this video to help you focus on reducing variation in your process. And why would you want to do that? Well, variation in your manufacturing process really is a signifier that you haven't got it under control. And the risk of that is that you are either, if you haven't got a very good kind of quality process, you could end up sending bad stuff to your customers. If you have got a good process for stopping stuff, it means you're just piling up lots of rework basically. Things aren't going to go through your standard processes and it's going to be really expensive. So reducing variation is a really good step to get to on the way of improving your production efficiency. So I think there are 5 steps that you can go through to reduce the variation. So we're going to go through that in the video today. So number 1 is to quantify what the effects are that the variation is causing. You know, like we said before, are those things getting through to your customers and the customers are returning their products? If so, what's the cost of that? What's the value of that? Is it in the cost of the rework? Once you understand what it costs, then when you embark on a project to reduce the variation, you know, which is going to have costs itself and will have consequences in the manufacturing process, you've got something to justify the return on investment that you'll get from going about reducing variation in your process. Number 2 is to look at the materials coming into your factory. This is often the number 1 cause of variation in your manufacturing process. So are your material suppliers subject to strict quality controls and inspections? That's number 1. Number 2 is, do you have multiple suppliers? And if you do, you know, that's a sensible thing, because if you don't want to be completely reliant on one supplier, but are the quality of the materials or the consistency of the materials coming from both suppliers the same? Is one slightly better than the other? Investigate into that and see, are you getting consistent materials into your process? That's going to be key to ensuring you get good quality out of your manufacturing process. Number 3 is the process itself. Do you have a standard repeatable manufacturing process with kind of fixed identified stages and gates that everything goes through the same way? So, so if it happened today on the day shift versus tomorrow on the night shift, is that material going to go through the same process? That's key to making sure you get consistent and low variation products out of your factory. Number 4 is to identify some measurements that will be signifiers of low variation in your products. So it could be measuring diameters, sizes, electrical measurements, surface finishes, things like that. What are the key measurements that you could take during the process to signify whether your process is under control or not? Sometimes this is called statistical process control. If you trend the performance within an upper and a lower limit, if you see the trend going towards one of the extremes, you know that something's happening to push that process towards higher variation, and it's a trigger to go and do something about it. So taking measurements is key to understand how well you're doing. And then number 5 is to monitor it. So you may have lots of detailed measurements, but identify a few high-level KPIs, whether that be that will help you identify key trends in your manufacturing process that will tell you whether you're on track to having low variation. And that might be the results of the functional tests at the end of your production line. It might be a key measurement of the materials coming in, but just identify 2 or 3 of those which you think have the biggest impact, track those over time, and that will tell you whatever things that you implement, if they're on track to making the improvements. So 5 steps for reducing the variation in your manufacturing process. Number 1 is to quantify what that variation is costing you at the moment in terms of either time and money. Number 2 is to look at the materials coming into your factory. Number 3 is to establish a standard process that everything goes through in the same way. Number 4 is to start taking measurements along the way to check if things are of low variation. And then number 5 is to establish some key KPIs to help you monitor and report back on how well your process is doing. So if you like this video, I hope it was helpful and will give you a framework for reducing variation in your manufacturing process. Click the like and subscribe below to hear our next manufacturing update, and I'll see you next time. Thanks very much. Bye.